Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the WGLNA. I'm Joshua Gray, joined by Randall Holcomb, and tonight is qualifier number 2 for Season 5. There's one spot left, and tonight and tomorrow will determine which team will be joining us for the season.
Yeah, we have teams coming back from the last qualifier, a few new teams coming in to shake things up. I have high expectations for a few of those names, which we'll see tonight.
I look forward to what type of strategies they're going to bring, maybe a couple repeats from last time, refined with better execution or better brawls. But it was a little bit of back and forth with some of these teams in comparison to teams that moved on. So with those close engagements, I look forward to seeing what these teams learned from last week and what they're going to bring. We have had some changes since last season. We are currently in the 7x54 attack defense mode, or assault mode. Randall, go ahead and detail for us what is 7x54 in this attack mode.
All right, so we've changed the points a little bit, but the most important thing is the way the matches are going to flow, which is we have 2 maps, which are in assault mode, which means we have 2 cap points on any map. The defender has to defend 2 separate cap points, which are placed at inconvenient distances from each other. The attacker, their entire job is to kill the enemy tanks or to capture the enemy base. Now, there has been a little change with the way cap points work in that both cap points take 120 seconds. Sorry, 120 seconds, not a minute and 20. 120 seconds to cap with just 1 tank, which is a little bit more than normal, but it's within a range that I think is attainable. Teams are still learning how to deal with this new cap.
And there are 2 points on the map for the attackers to capture those points. There's also 7 minutes only on each individual map, and both teams will have a chance to attack and defend twice before we move on to the second map. Well, speaking of maps, let's talk about the map pool. A lot of familiar maps we've seen in previous seasons, but also one new map that we saw a lot of play on last week, and that was Muravanka.
Yes, Muravanka. I wanted to detail, actually, a few of the little strategies we've seen, primarily the strategy we saw from Simple Tankers. Simple Tankers, starting in the north, decided to send RU-251s all the way down the 1 line in an opening blitz, which their opponent was caught off guard by. Now, with these 5 RU-251s, their tier 7s were ISs who took the F2 corner, and with that, put pressure all the way from F1 down to Kilo 3. It extended a little farther in some areas, but they had absolute control of that and completely obliterated their opponents. We've seen other teams, and I'll notate this with blue, went out to the east side of the map, and that hasn't been quite as successful. I expect teams will be playing the west side heavily in these series.
That magical forest is a place of terror sometimes for a lot of these tankers. Let's talk about the tier point limit now. The changes is now 54 tier points compared to what we had in the past, so 42. That means we can have a lot more tier 8s, tier 7s, and possibly some tier 6s. There's 2 types of lineups that each of these teams can bring. That's 5 tier 8s and 2 tier 7s, or 6 tier 8s and 1 tier 6. The possibility still remains for one of these teams to bring an artillery tank on one of these maps. I have predicted that Steps may be the map that they'll bring it. However, it's still anybody's call on the type of tanks that they're bringing. But we have seen a lot of these new tanks, these new RU-251s, T-49s, and others being used with great outcomes so far for the teams that have won.
Yeah, great results from the RU-251. Let's actually go ahead and take a look at that tank. I want to detail some of the strengths of it. Now, the RU-251 goes about 80 kilometers an hour, and that is fast. One of the fastest tanks in the game right now. The armor isn't much to speak of, which is a point to pay attention to. HE rounds against this tank are going to be very effective with about 25 max millimeters of armor. But what makes this tank exceptional is even stock. You get the 90 millimeter, which has 102 penetration with the HE rounds. Big thing to pay attention to, because that will pen pretty much anything. And if you take a look at the shell, the min pen, the minimum penetration you're going to see on that is about 77 millimeters of penetration, which is more than enough for any light tank on the battlefield. On top of this, what's really great about the tank is you do get the best turret for it, stock. You get the tank, you get this 400 meters of view range, no problem. You don't have to worry about upgrading it or anything. And the engine, 630 horsepower. I think the combination of just everything on this tank makes it so exceptional. And it's going to be played very well until maybe it gets a rebalance or something and might be less played. But right now, it's one of the strongest tanks to bring.
The agility, the speed of this tank, along with its firepower, is incredible. However, it does not take a lot of damage very well. It definitely gets hit, and that is, you know, the 3 pillars of World of Tanks: speed, firepower, and armor. Let's go ahead and see what a couple of the team captains had to say when it came to the changes to 7x54.
Greetings, I'm Randall Rookhill Holcomb, and today we're going to be talking about the 7x54 format. I've gathered here a bunch of pros to pick their minds and get their opinions on the new format. Actually, new Tier 8 lights, what do you think they do to the game? I know the RU251 is a hotspot for some people. What makes it so good, though? Like, detail that for me.
100 pen HE round makes the RU251 absurdly powerful against light tanks.
Just not so useful against heavies?
It can be useful against heavies. That if you get above an IS-3 and just keep shooting it on top of the turret, it's going to go through every single time.
What about the T-49? It's got the freaking 152.
I don't think we're gonna fit in your matches.
Why not?
It depends on too much RNG.
We've seen it used in the Bernal Empires and Cunningham's thing in the Rumble in the West, and it didn't perform all that well.
Now, if you're expecting a team to bring like 550-100s, and then you can just get that thing around to the side, and suddenly you have 1 less 5100 on the field in a matter of a second.
It's really map dependent. You need to be up close to the enemy tank to be able to not rely too much on RNG, which, yeah, like I said, it's map dependent. Like, let's say, I don't think we're playing Mines this season, but like Mines going for the hill, like bringing a T-49 would work probably, because you're gonna get like super close to the enemy tank and you can just shoot him.
If you end up in a situation where you're trying to take the same part of the map with 3 light tanks, people will be gambling with that 49 to dominate that battle.
But it could definitely throw everything into your favor.
Or completely wreck you.
So basically, we're saying it's like Russian roulette.
Approved. I'm gonna use it.
LTTP, anyone?
You can see the entire version of that on our YouTube page, YouTube/WGLNA.
We'll have more VODs and other conversations posted on that website on our YouTube channel in the future, so you definitely want to subscribe to that as well. Let's talk about the matches we're going to see tonight. First off, it's going to be Voltage versus eLevate Red. Voltage is a team that was created this summer in 2014, and they were a team that was a unification of 2 Bronze League teams, CYA and LB Game. They have support from the Barcraft cyber community, and they have players from Canada, Russia, and the Ukraine. First time they're going to premiere tonight on our broadcast, first time making it through the qualifiers this far. We wish them the best of luck. They're going to be going up against a team, eLevate Red, that has some history when it comes to World of Tanks esports.
Yeah, we've got members from Bernal Empires. There was a recent merger. eLevate, or Bernal Empires adopting the eLevate tag and joining that community. With that, we've seen eLevate members go to the normal Bernal Empires team, and we're now seeing eLevate members with some Bernal Empires members forming a new team in order to try and compete and find their way into the Gold League. We could see 2 eLevate teams this season if they perform well today and tomorrow.
If they can still hold the aggressive stance that Bernal Empires has been famous for, both for success and failure sometimes, then I think eLevate will be one of those surprising teams tonight. Again, we are seeing them perform for the first time with this type of lineup as well, so anything is possible. The second matchup is going to be the Doge Squad versus the Replacements. The Doge Squad, they've returned once again. They've been in multiple qualifiers in previous seasons, and now they're back again this week to try to make it into the Gold League. Last time they had they were defeated by Warriors, or they were able to defeat Warriors of Honor, and they lost to Simple Tankers. Now, it was a close matchup, and Doge Squad had some impressive play here and there, but they were not as happy with this performance, and obviously they're back. So hopefully we'll see some changes from them.
Yeah, just little things here and there. I think that experience will help them play much stronger this time through. Now, their opponents, the Replacements, I know some of these players. I actually got to play with them last night in the new battle format. There was some fun. We won everything and we played. And it seems like a strong group. I'm not sure how they're going to play here today, if they're up to the level of Doge Squad yet, or if they need more practice. This could just be them sharpening their teeth.
They have GLM from Victoria's Secret previously. They also have Niv 13 from Refuse to Die. Now, this next matchup is funny. It is going to be Unpleasant Sensation versus Get Flanked. Now, Get Flanked, lost to Simple Tankers 4-5 in a very, very close matchup. And Get Flanked were winning at one time against Simple Tankers, but Simple Tankers won finally in the brawls a little bit later on thanks to reducing the HP from long range. Simple Tankers was having some trouble with those brawls, and if Get Flanked is able to use the same maneuvers and power that they had against Simple Tankers, then we could see Get Flanked make it through today and into the finals tomorrow.
And what's your assessment on, I call them Unsen, because that's what we're going to see them again,
yeah.
Unsen. What's your assessment on them?
Unpleasant sensation. We really don't have too much information from them. We asked for a statement from the captain and unfortunately didn't hear from him yet. I'm sure they're prepared and ready to go. A little bit nervous making it this far, but we'll see what they're going to bring onto the battlefield. The final match of the night tonight is going to be V-Boys versus Simply Irresistible. Now, Simply Irresistible we saw last time. Unfortunately, they did not make it through, but V-Boys is the first time we're going to see their appearance here in the qualifiers for the Gold League. The V-Boys are actually made up of Vietnamese players that live in the United States, except for one player who currently lives in Vietnam. This is their first time trying to commit to the Gold League, but they're here to test strategy, see how far they can make it, and they will be happy to make it in the Silver League if that's where they end up. And Simply Irresistible, another Simp team.
Yeah,
they
look strong. I'm going to mix up their name a few times with the other Simp teams, keep a good count. They should perform well. V-Boys, I'm feeling like we've got a favorite for the matchup, but I'm hoping for a little surprise.
We're all hoping for a great series, but the nature of the qualifiers is we can see the best signing up, and also people that have next to zero experience when it comes to esports and World of Tanks. But it's great that these teams have signed up, and we look forward to see what type of strategies and what type of crazy tank lineups possibly we're going to see tonight. We're going to finish up our pregame show and come back with information on social media, on betting, and a very, very cool prize we'll be giving away tonight and tomorrow in celebration of Thanksgiving weekend. So you don't want to go anywhere, folks. That's it for the pregame show. Stay tuned. The first match will begin after this.
In the beginning, I made my opening move.
As long as it can, Commander Day does end up dropping to a shot from Soviet.
And once again, our champions winning $50,000, ladies and gentlemen, Fulcrum Gaming.
And there it is, Fulcrum Gaming is your WGLNA Season 2 champions. They have defended.
Then I went all in.
Fnatic goes on into the finals. Soviet pushed in against Roxas. He wants the revenge kill against him, and he gets it. Fire, a couple misses, but they get it. Simp is your champion.
Now, the game has changed.
The game has changed indeed, Soviet. Welcome back to the WGLNA. I'm Joshua Gray, joined by Randall Holcomb. And we are looking forward to this first matchup. But we want to remind everybody to please follow us on Twitter at WGLNA, Facebook.com/WGLNA, and use that hashtag WGLNA, and also hit that follow button down below.
Don't forget about the question of the day. Today's one, what are your predictions for the Qualifier 2 final match? Who will be here tomorrow going into the Gold League, and who will be there to challenge them, that final step?
It is quite a journey for all these teams to make it this far, but the journey still continues tomorrow as we will crown a victor that'll be joining us as a 16th team. Also, you want to be able to place your bets. You want to place your bets right before the beginning of every battle, not just the match. In the previous, we used to do the matches. Now it's before every single battle. And this time around, we have a very special prize for the top performers. The top 50 performers every night that you can check out at WGLConnect.com when it comes to the betting points will have the chance to win a Jinx code for $50. Now, Jinx Apparel has a lot of specific World of Tanks items that are perfect when it comes to Black Friday or even Cyber Monday over this weekend to find some gifts for that special someone that is a lover of tanks. And we're going to be giving one out today and one out tomorrow. A big special thank you to Jinx for that. And here we go. Rosters.
Dang. I wanted one of those light tank pins. I buy just a box of those.
Yeah.
Only light tank pins. Voltage. Take a look at that lineup. Names we recognize, not really seeing many. I like Gordon Freeman. That's a good name. I'm glad someone picked that. We're going to see Gordon Freeman today. eLevate Red. We're going to see a few names we recognize that from previous qualifiers and from Burn All Empires.
And the countdown is almost over, folks. Here we go. Battle number 1 will take place. Amurovanka versus eLevate Red and Voltage. Randall, what do we have for tanks?
All right, looks like we've got 5 1390s, an RU251, and that VK 20-01. That looks like it's going to be Voltage, the blue team defending. eLevate Red, the attackers will have 2 Pershings, a T69, 2 RU251s, and 2 M41 Walker Bulldogs. I like these lineups. The 1390s is a little bit different than what we're used to. We've seen more RU251s being brought out, but the choice to bring that VK, we'll have to see how this tank works out. It's been a traditional scout back when it was Tier 5. It worked very, very well. It's been moved to Tier 6, and it's not quite what it used to be, but with the new point limit, I think this tank could be made to work. I'm just going to watch and see how it plays.
We're going to have the opening movements coming from eLevate in the red.
Oh, wow.
One shot fired towards the movement from Voltage, who are moving past the Echo line further to the north. Long shot from SBM Hawk. That one did not connect, and now eLevate is falling back.
Voltage is blitzing. This is a crazy move. The defender is leaving their base behind. You can see on the mini-map that there are red tanks on the cap. Minute 55 left on that as 2 more will be approaching and the fight will begin.
And this is the blitz. Spanish takes a hit to the front, another one to the side. Dantist takes a couple hits from behind. He does not go down yet. Spanish is the first to fall. More tanks now crowding around, trying to get an isolation against more of the blue tanks as they take more damage. eLevate trying to scramble. Pro Skill able to take down Drunken Clam. SBM Hawk pushing up against Pro Skill in that 1390, who could be low, but he still has a couple more shots. The RU251 and the consistent fire now behind SBM Hawk lands a shot on the run. Revent in the T69 still reloading, fires. It looks like as Sour Cream pushes up, takes a shot for 221 in the front, another one on the side, and the action continues on the southern side as one tank, a number of tanks are on the flat cap as Sour Cream finishes that last remaining eLevate Red tank to the north.
We have 3 tanks on cap from eLevate Red. That is the Django Hole and Razor. As they are looking for targets, we've got 39 Tractorists moving in with some more 1390s coming from the north. They may be able to stop this, but there are 10 seconds left, and this is still a dangerous group of 3 tanks. There are the resets. This should go in favor of Voltage. Looks like their blitz is working out for them.
One shot takes down Liven, and now Pro Skill is going to break this up, causing most of those points to be reset. Westbam 990 firing from a distance as 39 Track Tortoise is able to cover the opposite flank. 3 tanks still left alive for eLevate Red. Sour Cream taking some shots from far away. He goes down.
Wow. Surprising that eLevate Red's able to bring this back. I thought they were done for sure. They do have to worry about Django. He's a one-shot. Razor Ryan is at 230, so one shot could finish him, but we do have Hole.
And Django misses a shot against Track Tourist. Track Tourist returns fire, takes him down.
With that, Voltage looks to be in the advantage. The autoloaders could do some serious work. It's a matter if these RU251 and the Walker Bulldog can survive. Well, that...
Not for long. Westbam takes down Razor. Hole, 598, last one alive for Voltage. Or excuse me, for eLevate Red. Voltage has 2 left, going for the surround, pushing forward. Track Taurus 39, going to be able to help Westbam as Westbam is waiting to get that last shot. Can't land 2 of them.
And a lot of misses going back and forth. Players just not quite doing it.
And the final shot, Voltage gets it.
There we go. eLevate Red's going to drop it. Voltage picking it up. That's an insane blitz to pull off at the beginning of a series like that. Just moving right at him with all 1390s. The burst is there. I get that. I was worried about the position, and I was proven wrong. It seems they were able to return to base quick enough in order to defend that. It was close, though, and a little too close for comfort.
It was very close with the divide, and once they were able to win that divided match, or the divided set on the battlefield, they started to sweep in towards the flag cap. I think Voltage got a little bit too cocky, engaging on those tanks on that flag cap. And there's a number of missed shots coming from Westbam against a tank so close, and another one that miss, I believe, from Hull. But here comes the final shot.
If Hull had stayed moving, if he had just kept moving, I think he could have clutched that. And that's what you saw members of eLevate Red do. In RU-251s, they stopped. 1390s are not as effective on the move. They're still somewhat effective when they're running around on the move, especially if they can close the distance. But with RU-251s, I feel you have better performance on the move. So if eLevate Red's players had just kept moving, kept going with the Walker Bulldog and the RU-251, they may have been able to kite out one of the 1390s and just taken one of them out. Or outdistanced them and perhaps kept the match going long enough to try and bring out that win.
What I liked at the beginning of Voltage, being the defenders, they played the blitz play, which not necessarily is a bad thing or a good thing. It's something that we have not seen yet in this new format, that type of blitz coming from the defensive side, at least on this map. It's, of course, a possibility. It's definitely a card you can play. But you look at what type of openings on your flank, especially against those flag caps, that eLevate Red was able to punish.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, not able to punish well enough. They didn't have enough tanks to stop the firefight that was going to come towards them on that flag cap. It was the right decision to make, though. If the tanks at the north had held longer or did better in their engagement to do more damage, could have been a different story. Battle number 2 on Moravanka between these two teams, Voltage and eLevate Red, is about to begin. Randall, what do we have for tanks?
You're going to love this. 5 1390s, an RU-251, and an M44. That's right, guys.
This is it.
Voltage has brought it.
This
Defense is going to bring an RD, and we're going to see how that plays out. eLevate Red, 3 T69s, 2 RU-251s, and 2 M41 Walker Bulldogs. That's an interesting strategy. I do see how it can work, though.
The M41s, I think the M41s with their speed want to get back there as fast as they can.
We've got that, but we've also got T69s, which brings the kind of burst which is going to annihilate the first tank that they can just catch out. That's what they're going to be looking for. Osada is going to be hiding in one of the typical places. We might see blind fire going towards that tank, especially if we've got members of eLevate Red paying attention, but this defilade that the M44 is in might keep him safe. There's just a tiny hill just to his north, which I think could work out pretty well. Now we've got a little scouting going. M44 fires.
Can't tell which direction he's firing
Off
towards.
into the north, into Charlie 1, Charlie 2 at Drunken Clam.
Okay, Drunken Clam takes a shot for 226. I do not believe that was from Artie. Unless it was, well, could have been. But the amount of damage that Artie would have done,
it's
close by.
Another shot out.
Oh, just over. I think Drunken Clam took a hit from another tank for the way. That Artie shot was about 30 yards away from the M41 Bulldog.
Maybe. It's possible. But he could have splashed him for enough damage.
Yeah, definitely possible. I'm looking for any craters around here that the splash damage could have happened. But none whatsoever, at least recent ones. We saw the other one recently. And there's another shot towards Drunken Clam. 2 of them both miss.
And we've still got M44 aiming towards that M41 Walker Bulldog.
And look at this coming from eLevate Red. Hugging the southern line.
Shot out.
On the approach. They're looking for that 1390, possibly the first tank that will be seen here as he is covering the approach from the Magical Forest. Hole 598, Razor Ryan and Django inching closer and closer.
They're close. Liven is right there, waiting. He is blind a little bit. There's some trees in the way of that approach, so eLevate Red could make this push happen. It's those T69s in the north that need to start the attack. What are they up to? Because I think that's going to be the trigger. That's going to be the tell of when eLevate Red is going to move in and begin their attack. The longer they wait, the better chance this M44 can deal some serious damage and pick up a kill, get a little bit of a lead and even things up. Make it so that RD has paid for itself and now is not so valuable, isn't so crucial to victory.
Ooh, big RD shot close to Drunken Clam. Does not land, though.
He's getting close, and you can tell, I think, the fire rate and the arc is a good choice in this map. The hills aren't too harsh, and it looks like he's getting enough shells out. Unfortunately, not the damage we're looking for. He needs to get those hits. That is how Voltage is planning on winning this. They need the Artie to deal enough damage to pay for itself and then some.
Well, they're also maintaining the distance from eLevate Red and letting the clock tick down. So time is always going to be in the favor of the defenders. With less than 4 minutes now, this Artie is going to continue to put pressure on any tank that is either spotted or a potential place where they've seen in the past. They want to keep firing towards that area. That's going to cause hesitation from eLevate Red, which at this moment with 3 minutes and 34 seconds on the clock, they cannot hesitate.
You're right. I didn't think about that. They're taking advantage of the clock. eLevate Red doesn't want to push in. 658 damage onto Revan.
Big shot. Revan's going to have to fall back. Spanish and SBM Hawk are going to second guess this push right around this short hilltop as the rest of the tanks that are at the south have not committed yet.
I need to see a push. Voltage needs to be pushed on. eLevate Red cannot afford more time. They've just lost about half health on one of their big tanks, one of their big damage dealers, the T69s. I'm waiting for it. It's not happening. If eLevate doesn't know what to do, or that's it. The cap pressure. Razor Ryan going for that, and that could bait out some response and then bring in the T69 attack. I see Revan moving up, but the Artie is still looking north. They know they can handle it. And we've got 1390s moving to stop the cap.
Razor Ryan hugging the very outside circle of that flat cap. Shot fired from hole 98. This is the push coming from Voltage to try to stop this. A little bit of, a couple hits actually hitting the side of Pro Skill. A little bit of damage to Livin, and now Pro Skill is low.
And we do have an overmatch, 3v3 with a fourth in support, and these are auto loaders. The RUs have to focus something down and kill it immediately. These missed shots are just ruining their chances.
And you can't count out that RD2 from long distance can rain hell upon these tanks. So Razor Ryan from long range able to get the kill. 2 against 1 though, as the 1390 from Tractorus is able to land a number of long range shot as Livin. And the 1390 with that coverage is going to push in. So missed shot coming from Livin. Wood a little bit wide here, but Westbam 990 and his 1390 is going to move into support. Another shot from Westbam can get the kill, and he does get it.
And in the meantime, we do have T69s moving in. SPM Hop leading the way with Spanish behind him, Revan in support, Drunken Clam with the crossfire. And these T69s, if they can get the damage out, that's it. There's a kill. They need to take down the M44 and the 1390. Drunken Clam needs to move in, and these T69s need to survive just for one more reload, but SPM Hawk is getting messed up.
Dantist getting shot from the side from Drunken Clam. Osada takes down SBM Hawk in the artillery. Danis tries to line up another hit against Drunken Clam. He needs to hold out against this Artie, or for this Artie. Danis trying to line up the last shot.
He's reloading. And Drunken Clam has timed it.
Tractorus from a long range.
Wow.
Takes out the danger. Spanish, last tank alive for eLevate Red. Osada may want the kill. He's pushing up for it. Oh! Misses a shot against the M44. Osada on the move in tank destroyer mode gets the kill.
Craziness. I did not expect Artie to work that way, but I felt like eLevate Red played into that. They played slowly. They found positions that they couldn't really do much but hide in or get spotted occasionally and take some fire. I wasn't a big fan of the way eLevate Red handled that. They could have handled that more aggressively and taken advantage of their overmatching number of tanks to maybe catch a tank or maybe blind fire to those positions where you know that M44 is. I felt like there were a lot of options, a lot of things that eLevate Red could have done that they didn't execute on.
Let's check out the damage that the Artie was able to do on the score screen. I am very, very happy. We finally got to see an Artie and how it was used on the defensive stance. They were really killing time, and that was on the defensive side. That is your advantage.
1,700 damage. 4 hits, 4 pens. Now, 13 shots fired. You did see a number of misses, but Artie had that opportunity. All they need to do is see a tank, and they can start putting shells in that direction. You saw a few good hits, one on the T69, which was crucial, and he ends up picking up 2 kills. One of them right at the end on the move.
Very impressive play so far from Artie, but it's a back and forth thing. Teams will defend the possibility of Artie being used. Other teams will, not violently, but close to, they'll approach that line of saying there is no practical reason to bring this type of tank when you can bring this other type of tank. This is all the same people that would say, why would you bring a T-32 when you can bring an IS-3? And, well, we all know how I feel about that. IS-3 still best tank in space.
Yeah, choice of arty though. M44 is a good arty, but I might have gone with the British FV.
Sure.
In favor. It's a little more zippy, but this one may have been simply the tank he had or personal preference.
You got the job done. That's the most important thing. But can they do the same now as the attackers? The sides will flip. eLevate Red will be on the defensive, and the blue and Voltage will be the attackers in the red. It's a best of 8, meaning the first to 5 wins takes the series. Battle number 3, what do we have for tanks?
Well, just as I was talking about, you see the FV304, we see RU251, 3 1390s, a T69, and a nice T32 choice. I'm liking it. And that's going to be Voltage, bringing that FV. On the other side, eLevate Red, on the blue team defending, is going to have a 5100, Pershing T69, Waffentrager, 2 RU251s, and a Hellcat, opting for tank destroyers instead of artillery. So, interesting choice. We'll have to see how that works out. I want to go find that little FV304. Isn't it just the most adorable little tank ever was? Look at it. It just goes up here. It's seriously the most adorable tank.
Looking at the position from the blue team, eLevate Red, they have 2 of those tank destroyers further back. There's Hull 598 and the Waffentrager. And the spread for the tank destroyers is down the 5 line and down the 3 line. So it's a defensive play to cover the flag cap on the western side and on the eastern side. But the majority of tanks have huddled around the hills on that western side, to where Voltage decided to go all the way through the Magic Forest.
It's an interesting strat. I can see how they're going to bring the FV304 in. Maybe it has better angles on those western positions. It can get behind some of those buildings. I believe I remember Revan's current position. If we jump to that, we'll see. Does this look familiar to you? Here, I'll jump here.
Sure.
Revan. Just a little bit south of the position we've seen before. Simple tankers moving down that 1-line strat caught a 5100 in about the same position. We're not going to see that here, but he is just behind a bush, out in the open, easy target. If he gets spotted, I expect he'll go down very quickly.
And here's the red team moving right below this cover, and 39 Tractoris is going to creep up first. Bonsai must have seen him by now in that M18 Hellcat. And he's have to call out to the rest of his team. They are on the way. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tanks in close proximity. 4 are the closest, 1 hanging back here.
Tractor's got to be spotted. I think the Hellcat has detected one of the 1390s. We got shots out. Blind fire into one of the bushes. No connection there. There's no tanks. But you can see that FV304's really beautiful arc, able to get over a number of obstacles very easily. Anything short of hiding directly behind a building on the other side of that FV304 is going to stop that.
And there's a long-range shot from Artie behind some more bushes further on. Still no shots fired in the bushes where the Hellcat is. A little bit tough to approach since there is a slight height difference. Another long shot from Artie towards the same bushes. They know they've been spotted if they have that perk on their tanks, and they're trying to figure out where it's coming from.
A little blind fire might scare someone out of position, but they've guessed wrong though so far. Not choosing actually an incredibly close bush. I'd be surprised too. That Hellcat is such a stealthy tank, but you wouldn't think it's that stealthy. Of course, he does have a camo net on there.
Ooh, that is a long-range shot coming from Artie. No connection yet from Osada. And Voltage are now on the back foot, you could say, as they are losing time as the attackers. They're still up in the series, but this is where the tables will turn in attack-defense mode. Livin as the point man in the T69. Dantas in the 1390 actually circling all the way around the map and heading towards the western side across the Bravo line. A couple more shots from Artie into that section, and a couple more blind shots coming from the T32 and the 1390s to sprinkle some fear towards eLevate Red.
Yeah, just to keep their heads down. Although this is wasting a good bit of time. We've got almost 3 minutes left, 15 seconds on top of that, and no real gains yet. Voltage is having trouble on the attack here, where they were just doing excellently on the defense. Of course, eLevate Red is playing a very comprehensive, strong defense. We've got Pershing T69, 5100 support. Damage from that Waffentrager is going to just completely annihilate the first light tank he sees. But they are weak to artillery. 5100's weak to artillery. Of course, the Waffentrager has almost no armor at all. And the Hellcat is very easy to pen as well with artillery. I even forget the RU-251s. They are incredibly soft as well, probably very easy to pen.
A couple shots fired. One bounced off the front of the turret for the T-32, and one hit. Does not pen against Elevated Red. So they have made contact, but no damage yet. Voltage has to make a move now, 2 minutes and 20 seconds. There's another shot and a non-penetrating hit against the T-32, but he fires back against Django for a hit.
Oh, nice, a little bit of damage there. Razor Ryan is in a perfect position to spot this northern attack. You see Voltage has grouped 3 tanks up north, 1390s all of them, and this could be a little hit squad that comes on in, deals a little bit of damage, and then we see that push from the east. Razor Ryan, does he spot it? Yes, everything should be lit at this point, and that attack has been detected. Nice shot onto Tractorist as he's going to take 239 damage just before this engagement begins.
And the flank try to pull this position away from Elevate Red as a number of tanks are taking significant damage now. T-32 from long range trying to help along the flag cap side. Nice long shot for 238 damage. Another one from the T-32 pro skill. Can't tell if that one connected, but Tractorus is low.
Ammo rack on the T-69 is going to change absolutely everything. That throws it from Elevate Red into Voltage's favor as they have just destroyed 2 tanks in no time. That is insane.
25 seconds left on the flag cap. Shots fired, still some more coverage from the T-32 trying to cover physically. Sour Cream in the RU-251. Osada in the Arty, now in an offensive mode, trying to continue to cover these tanks with 9 seconds left to go. Dantas now pushing across for the screen. Tractorus still staying alive against SBM Hawk. 2 more seconds left. Can they get the reset from downtown? 1 more second, and base has been captured. Voltage gets another win. 3 victories in a row so far for Voltage. Well played with 31 seconds to spare on the map.
Wow, I am very surprised with the way that turned out. The Arty, I don't think did all that much. If we take a look at the post game, he didn't get that many hits. Did he get any hits at all is the big question.
One splash damage hit for 442 damage.
That's it.
Out of 9 shots fired.
Wow.
Now, his position, I almost wanted him to move over to that one bush where the Hellcat was and get that surprise shot. But the amount of times that they kept waiting to land a hit or to get that blind fire damage, they're losing time when they do that. Now, there is an adequate amount of time when you can wait for your opponent to try to figure out where they're going to go first. But that standard time of about the 5-minute mark is going to make or break a lot of these teams, where they have to make the decision, we have no credible information at this moment. What's our next move? We have to make it now.
Part of what they need to do to improve that strategy, and while they were successful, what they need to do to actually improve that is they need to add active scouting into that, better vision control of the map. They need to map out the positions that are likely for their opponent to take, and then map out where they need to put tanks in order to spot those positions that are most likely and counter out the strongest positions your opponent is going to take. With that, good spotting, and bring the Arty in there, and you're going to be able to deal plenty of damage. Then you slow roll up. You move everything up as you push your opponent back. The more Arty hits, they're going to have ground. Someone's on the top of a hill in a bush, they take a shell, they're getting out of there. It makes sense. If they hold their ground, you destroy them. Easy, because you're spotting them, and you've got the Arty. Now, it may be easier said than done.
Of course.
But you need to go for that with your strategies, and it's very possible in a map like Muravanka.
And that's where Arty really comes into play, especially when you're on an offensive mode against tanks that are in hold-down positions or right below that grade to where your normal tanks, the straight shot tanks, cannot get a hit. And if they move in to get a hit, they're going to get annihilated. That's where Arty comes into play because of that arc fire, and perhaps more of these teams will see some of that element in this attack-defense mode. Battle number 4, Muravanka against Voltage and Elevate Red is about to begin. What do we have for tanks?
For tanks, we have 4 1390s, an RU-251, and a VK-20-01. Sorry, I was making faces a second ago because I looked down and I saw there's an uneven amount of tanks. And I was like, did someone bring an extra? No. We actually have 1 less from Voltage right now. They're sitting at 46 points. Elevate, 5100 perching T-69, Waffentrager, 2 RU-251s, and that Hellcat once more. I guess Wow. They decided not to bring the Artie this time, but they've forgotten one of their tanks.
Unfortunately, we have been informed there is a disconnect. We will continue the match according to our admin. And with this push coming from eLevate Red. No, this is from Voltage. Voltage is straight up going for it.
Yeah, they think their only chance to get this is to catch someone early and get that one tier 8 kill to even this up. If they do that, they do have a chance. They just can't afford to lose too many hit points. And Sour Cream
is taking a lot of hit points. They're trying to land a shot against Razor Ryan, the first tank that was spotted on the side of eLevate Red. Sour Cream is going for it.
Wow.
He got at least one shot in. Razor Ryan takes 2 hits for 507. Django takes another one for 309. Voltage has to now figure out which tank they're going to focus on. Razor or Django. Django's going to get focused by the 1390s. Pro Skill moves in, gets the kill, and is going to try to use that body block of the dead tank. Nice shot coming from Westbam, the 990, and Osad takes the kill.
Impressive. They're doing a rather strong play, and they are getting some traction with this. Now 1390 moves in, gets Revenant, and we've got 3 versus 5.
A massive bounce off the top of Pro Skill. It's going to keep him alive. Westbam, low on health. SBM Hawk moving to the side, but Bonsai is able to get it. Osada, along with Pro Skill, are now up against an M26 Pershing. Now Pro Skill up against an M26 Pershing at almost at full health. And Pro Skill has a sliver of health left. 17 hit points.
He's going to escape, too. And now the two 1390s with full health. Dantist and Liven will be moving in on the Hellcat. They should not be loaded.
Bonsai misses a shot on the run. So does Dantist. A couple missed shots on both sides here, but Dantist gets behind the TD for a big strike of 228. And Bonsai misses again. There's one tank left alive for SBM Hawk on the side of eLevate Red.
This just shows a level of skill for Voltage which exceeds what eLevate Red is able to bring today. With 6 tanks, they have been successful in tearing apart a full team.
Yeah, and SBM Hawk misses a shot against Livin. Livin fires again on the side, tries to get behind the M26, actually goes to the front, lands one hit in the hole, and gets it. Voltage takes battle number 4 in an undefeated streak so far in this series. They're one battle away from taking it, and they were down a tank the entire time.
Which blows my mind. They just said, okay, we don't have one of our tanks. Let's go. And it looked like they wanted to throw it away, but after an RU-251 just does a crazy run, and you see missed shells all over the place, you saw momentum. And 6 tanks were able to do it. You can be a tank down and still come out ahead. Now, Voltage is showing a level of skill above their opponent, though. I think that's what it was. They just did better in their fundamentals. They made their shots count. Their tank choices allowed them to get away with this kind of aggression. The burst allowed them to kill a tier 8 or 2 before their enemy was able to get even close to the same damage back on them.
I believe it was the Pro Skill, or the first tank that was taking a lot of fire in the RU-251, and he kept dodging shots left and right. He was focused on one target, and on that one target, he knew he needed to get at least one shot to make it count. He got one. The rest of his teams continued to land shots, and then they started to separate what was remaining for eLevate Red. They had a conglomeration of 5 tanks here and 2 tanks here. What does Voltage do? They go for the 2 tanks. They get those kills, and then they get the surround, and now they have the advantage. It was really heads-up play, and throwing caution to the wind in that type of aggression, that type of style from that one tanker, I think allowed for the confusion that gave Voltage the win.
Yeah, you saw eLevate was not prepared.
No.
They just completely unprepared team for that kind of a blitz. And maybe a little luck in there, you know, a little juking back and forth. RU-251 doing some old school scout stuff, able to dodge a few shells. At 80 kilometers an hour, you are able to throw off your opponent here and there. But eLevate needs to make their shots count, Josh.
They do. They have got to make those shots count. And even in these close-range brawls, which the tension is very, very high when a tank is up and in your face, where you hit it, where to move, how far you zoom in, how far you zoom out. Do you take a shot now, or you wait for the tank to stop? Do I wait for me to stop to take the shot? All those things are running through your mind when you're in a brawl. And as we have talked about so far this qualifier, there's no magic wand for experience. The only way to get better at that is to go through that type of engagement.
Yeah, I think this series is going to be a big lesson for eLevate Red. And all of Muravanka was just not successful for them. They're going to need to look back at the VODs and say, wow, we dropped the ball here. we needed to do this, this, and this, and identify those weak points, because there are easily identifiable problems with the play that can be fixed. It's not like these guys can't possibly fix them. They're problems outside of their control. They're all on those individual players, how they can personally improve and how the team can play better together. If they can bring that to Steps, we might see a different story.
Steps will be battle number 5. And the second map in this series. Voltage needs one more battle to win this and to move on to the semifinals tomorrow. eLevate Red has quite the hill to climb. Randall, what do we have for tanks?
We have a T69, 4 1390s, an RU251, and that M44 by Osada tank is back. And that will be Voltage, the blue team, defending. Attacking, eLevate Red will bring in 2 Pershings, a T69, 3 RU251s, and a T37. That's going to give them a little bit more firepower in some respects, a little bit more health, but against that Arty, they're going to need to get in fast and kill some 1390s before they can deal that huge amount of damage they have a potential for.
Here's Bonsai on the T37, a tank that per shot does not do a lot of damage, but the DPM is sufficient, as our friend Soviet says. We've seen the T37 come in very, very close plays to get a couple long-range shots or to clean up what was remaining of the enemy tanks. And Bonsai on the T37 will move out into the Hotel 6 section of the map and try to scout any movement from Voltage to the south out of the Eastern Valley. And now he's going to back up from the center rock position and get behind some of this the hillside here for more defense, as the rest of eLevate Red are heading towards the western flag cap. Oh. And there goes Bonsai.
Wow.
Shot from the Arty.
That must have been blind. I don't think he was lit. He must have gone dark very quickly after that, but that's a really strong prediction by Osada to get that shot.
Let's quickly take a look at the path. He went up on this side of the mountain, on this side of the hill, from the No Man's Road, and then he fell back. From the positioning of Voltage, I have a feeling that maybe he was spotted, and by the time he got further down, it could have been a blind fire shot.
And it connected perfectly in the back. Easy kill right there. Great pickup for Voltage on the defense. This is going to slow eLevate Red down massively.
Osada and the Arty has been impressive so far, along with the rest of his team, Voltage. eLevate Red still has some fight left in their tanks, and we're seeing that in the positioning here on the northern side, past the railroad tracks in Alpha. A couple shots fired on both sides. Libin takes a hit for 435, but Django takes the brunt of that force, along with Razor Ryan. Now Razor Ryan's starting to fall.
And we've got 1,000 damage in that volley between 2 tanks. That's going to mess up eLevate Red even more. Their chances of winning in this attack are pretty slim in my judgment. Osada puts a shot out there, does not connect, but he's done his work already. He's killed an entire tank. 1 single shot, throwing eLevate's numbers off. Voltage has a strong defensive position. I don't see where this goes well for eLevate Red.
Revan takes a hit for 276. More shots over the tank of Revan, the T69. Ooh, big bounce coming off the hull of the T69, but he gets hit into the turret for a penetrating shot. He has to fall back.
And Osada lining up a shot into the back towards the cap. One of those mediums or that light accompanying them may take a shell very soon. He fires very quickly. There it is. Will it connect?
Not seeing any connection on the other side, as the movement from eLevate Red is towards the aggression. Slithering in between these hills like a snake, trying to stay behind cover if possible. Sour Cream takes a hit for 234.
That must have been from Razor Ryan. Oh, and then from the front, he takes one from SBM Hawk.
And missed shot. There goes Revan. 1 shot away from falling here as the rest of his team moves up to try to cover him. Spanish in the M26 getting in front of Revan, but here comes Sour Cream.
And Osada's due for another shell out very soon.
Sour tries to line it up, can't get it. They're blocking him.
There it is, shot out.
And barely a miss. Almost took down Revan.
Just a little bit over.
Just a little bit over.
Well,
and there goes Dantist and Revan at the same time. Sour Cream hits again for 222.
Oh, big miss from Spanish.
Spanish cannot make those misses. You have to make that shot. And Sour Cream's still alive, but Django takes him down.
Now Hole is pinned in a forward position. I'm not sure. Liven may be able to pick that up, but it looks like Westbam's going to pick up Spanish.
And Westbam has plenty of health and probably firepower to take down Hole as well. He does. SBM Hawk, 1 shot away, 1 big shot away from falling here.
And just shells coming in from everywhere. He's lucky to be alive right now. There's a few misses, a few hits onto the Pershing in front of him, the dead Pershing, and Liven goes down. T-69 is dead. It is now 3 versus 4, one of those 4 being an artillery piece.
And the Pershing with 7 hit points moves up against the 1390. And the 1390 goes for the ram damage, and the Arty hits right in front of the AMX 1390. There may have been some friendly fire splash damage there. SBM Hawk falls back, counting his lucky stars on that engagement. Barely left alive with 2 minutes and 20 seconds left. eLevate Red are the attackers. A big bounce off the 1390 as Westbam is still reloading. And coverage coming from eLevate Red. There's Django trying to keep SBM Hawk alive. Looks like another missed shot from the Arty against SBM Hawk. Did not connect.
Hardcore's at full health, and it looks like he is fully loaded. Moving in on SBM Hawk, should be able to pick him up, and then follow that up with Django. There's the shot.
And he gets it. Django at low health, 267. Falls back away towards the flag cap, but away from the danger. 1 tank left alive. Up north is his teammate, Razor Ryan. And here comes a press from Hardcore in the 1390. Shot from the front against Django. Hardcore coming from behind, but it's Pro Skill that gets the kill. And now it's Razor Ryan who's left right above the railroad tracks. And Voltage wants to clean this up. One shot was really close there to Ryan, but does not connect. That one connected. His tracks are broken, and now Hardcore is going to come in for the kill.
And that should be it if he doesn't miss these. As he gets closer, that's it.
There's 1 and 2, and Hardcore is able to clean up what's left on the battlefield, not only for a battle victory, but also for a match victory. Voltage will be joining us tomorrow. Well done.
Man, that was impressive. It really was. I thought eLevate would bring a little bit more to the table. It's obvious that they're a new team still trying to figure things out, maybe even trying to figure out what exactly their style is going to be, because it looked aggressive-ish sometimes, maybe kind of that medium levels of aggression where they're going to kind of push forward, look for advantages, and exploit those, but they're not going to take the risks, I think, to just push in and try and win on the brawl. It didn't look like that kind of a team.
Yeah, the understanding as well of, hey, we're up a tank, we got this, and then you don't. That's when you know there's something fundamentally wrong with execution. Yeah. And it could either be as simple as not making your shots, which there is no replacement for that. You have to make your shots. You have to be able to engage against the enemy. But I feel they were surprised with the aggression from Voltage, not only when they were down a tank, but also when they were the defenders. It's something they probably didn't think about, didn't count on, and it happened.
And at the beginning of the show, you were talking about Voltage being a new team. How new were you saying?
Voltage was created in the summer of 2014.
So they are really new.
They are relatively new, but they have been competing in the Bronze League. It's a combination of 2 teams, CYA and LP Game, that have been competing in the Bronze League for some time, and their members are made up from Canada, Russia, and the Ukraine.
It's really impressive play for a team that has started in the summer of 2014.
Yeah.
I think that this is a team that looks like they have a lot of potential. When I saw Voltage, I was thinking of the old team High Voltage, which
yes.
Yeah, which had competed
like
in
there's High Voltage, Vultures, that was all
all that. I thought they were part
thing.
of that, but I guess they're separate. Just they decided on the name Voltage.
Yeah, decided on the name Voltage. I could not find any link, and I'll have to ask them again, but I don't think they're related to High Voltage or Vultures we've seen in the qualifiers.